Hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to your daily morning tea. I'm Mary, for those of you that are new here, and I appreciate you stopping by. Today, I want to talk a little bit about what's in the headlines. And as we all know, as many of you know, um, one of the major things that's in the headlines right now is the Diddy trial. And I just want to connect the dots as to what it is that Spirit is showing us in a sense. Maybe what we need to look at when it comes to our own lives. And first thing I want to say is this is for entertainment purposes only. And everything I say here is alleged. Okay. So we're talking about the trial. We all know that he's in court now, those of us that are paying attention to it. It may not, for some of us, we may not have ever heard anything about it, but um, there's still something here for you to glean from what his situation is, and we can kind of connect dots. So, um, we've seen the courtroom headlines and all the allegations and the whispers, and the confessions and that kind of thing. But this isn't about fame or gossip. This is a morning for reflection. So, because what's happening to him can happen to any of us, guys, to any of us in our own way, in our own world. Okay. Excuse me. I'm still getting over cold. I have my tea here. I hope you guys have your morning tea. And I also have my notes to keep me on track. Okay. So I did meditate and I came up with three cards that Spirit wanted me to talk about. And we have the moon, we have the six of pentacles in reverse, and we have the justice card. So the first card that came up, like I said, was the moon. And the moon is a card about illusions and secrets, delusions, distortion. Um, this is the energy of things done in the dark. And we all know that that's what he's been doing. Well, in the dark for some of us. Okay, I'll put it that way. But these are things that we, from what we hear, we would not consider normal. So things that were done in the dark, hidden behind performance, power, and pride, his ego. So in Diddy's story, this card reflects a long trail of suppressed truth. Okay, we know that he's been doing this for decades, is what they say. And I don't want to go over it in this particular video because this is about us in a sense. We're just using him as an example. So there were deals made behind doors and people were silenced. And the pain that was tucked beneath the spotlight. We've heard about all the pain that some of the women and men have went through, because of him. But the moon always rises, and when it does, nothing stays hidden. And it seems like that's what's happening right now in the case of Diddy. So, as we reflect on this, I ask you, what truth have you tucked away? What version of yourself have you shown the world because the real one felt too vulnerable? Vulnerable. Think about that. Okay, the moon tells us this. What we suppress becomes a story we can't escape. Okay? That's what the moon tells us. Okay? It's going to come back. It's going to come back around. Okay, so the next card I pulled was the Six of Pentacles, and the Six of Pentacles is reversed, which is telling me that there is some kind of imbalance um, of giving, some kind of imbalance as far as giving. And in this case, it's about the giving of control, of giving of generosity. It's always strings attached. So it's like things are imbalanced because if you're going to give someone something, there's no strings attached. You're just giving it freely because this is what you want to do for them. Okay, but sometimes, like especially in his case, he did it for having that power and that control over people, allegedly, and there were always strings attached. So Spirit says some people give not to help, but to own. They give not to help, but to own. And this is where we have to be careful when we're accepting things from people. You know, just know what you're doing. Okay. So, and when the gift comes with a leash, which it did in his case, the person that's receiving it eventually chokes because he has that leash, you know? So this is the shadow side of success. Shadow side of success, of wealth, and of power. Okay, so reflect on this as you think about the Six of Pentacles in the reverse. Have you ever helped someone just so they'd owe you later? Or taken something knowing the price would come later? Those are questions to ask yourself, because this card is about spiritual debt, not just money. It's about how we treat people when we think no one will find out. This is what he was doing until things reversed. Okay. It really, until karma came to collect. Okay. And finally, we have the Justice card. And, you know, spirit doesn't need a judge, even though, you know, the judge is there, he's in court, and the judge is listening to both sides. And every once in a while, he has to step in and say no or yes or whatever, you know, so he's kind of judging it. But spirit just waits. That's the difference. Spirit just waits. And what this card says is what we plant in the past. What we plant in the past, we harvest in the present. So it's kind of like, what's that saying? What you sow, watch what you sow, because it's going to come back around, that kind of thing. I can't think of the words right now. You guys probably know. Yeah, be careful the seed you sow. Okay, because it might come back to bite you. I'll put it that way. So Diddy may be facing man's court now, but long before that, he was already on trial with spirit. You know, and he just kept doing things and doing things. And he was already in that trial, although he didn't realize that he was. I'm sure he got slapped a few times with spirit. You know, spirit comes knocking, and you just turn away and you don't want to hear it, and spirit knocks again and you turn away, you don't want to hear it, and then spirit knocks for that third time and you don't want to hear it, and he says, okay, fine. So he was already on trial with spirit, and the truth comes, and then the scales have to be balanced. Okay. And no one, not even the most powerful, no one can escape karmic law. It's written. You can't escape karmic law. Okay? So this morning, ask yourself, what truth have you been avoiding? What is the truth that you've been avoiding? What apology do you still owe? What decisions need to be made before the universe makes it for you? Okay? Universe is not shy. It'll make that decision for you. So, in closing, this is the mantra for you guys. This is what you need to think about. What I bury in silence, the soul remembers. What I do in the dark, the light reveals. Simple. I choose to make peace with my past, so my future doesn't have to clean it up for me. Okay. And just let me close with this, guys. Remember, you're not what you've done, but you're responsible for what you do next. Okay. So let this be the moment that you choose differently, not because you're afraid, but because you're ready to be free. So I'll see you tomorrow right here for another morning of daily morning tea tarot story. Until then, walk in your truth, and walk in your truth with light, and never fear your shadow. Never fear your shadow, because you can overcome it. All right, guys, thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good evening.